I don't want them to, come into this space like, okay, we're full on crypto, but just be inspired. Be like, okay.
It's been so amazing working with the Ledger team because it's kind of like there's so much alignment between the Refraction and the Ledger team. Like everyone is so about the art, the culture, making it just right, Whether it's been the screens, whether it's been the space, the club, the stacks, we're able to actually add on to what's being built here in that vision through a very aligning vision around like design culture and like how we actually think about bringing people into this space that weren't here before. This is the next wave.
It's the wave.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It is the wave. Like the wave has started.
The wave has started.
This is the wave.
And now it's like you can catch it now or, you can get struck by the tsunami.
The conversation that we're having today is very similar to the conversation we were having in 2021. It's just that the context is widely different.
One of the most interesting things I think that we think about around it is it's not just for us in IRL, but promoters, producers, different venues, everything globally can also create their own token on the chain. They can also build on what we're building, which I think is going to be...
You're just building a platform for that.
Exactly.
Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned this, but if I...
It's okay, we can cut it after. Yo, what up? It's Farokh, and we're back at the 106 with the fam at Ledger. I'm joined here by Mo and Malcolm. Guys, good morning. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great to have you here once again.
We're back.
Feels like this seat is yours. Like, I don't know why I sit there from time to time. Like, I think you should just take over.
You sat here?
I sat.
You're okay.
I sat here.
Nobody else can sit here.
Yeah.
Maybe Tony.
Tony would sit here.
That's Tony.
You're sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm Tony's seat.
Yeah.
That's a big responsibility.
And who sits there?
That's a big seat.
Ian.
It's you.
And much bigger responsibility.
Yeah, this is my. Can I?
Shout out.
We should get it engraved or something. I want to like stitch.
Farokh was here.
Yeah, it's Farokh's seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my chair.
Maybe in the back, like.
Yeah, it's like FS, like my initials, like in like this writings. Anyways, guys, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you guys. So Mo, first, you tell me what's going on here this week, and then Malcolm, I want to know what you're doing because we were just chatting off camera, which should have been on camera given the stuff you told me, but we'll get into that. Mo, what are we doing here today?
Yeah, well, we are doing Ledger 106 Experience. You were with us in October when we kind of inaugurated that building, and this time we're actually fully focusing on the connection between on-chain culture and broader culture. It is NFT Paris, so it is a cultural moment for the city. There's an AI summit happening at the same time.
Big one.
You have a lot of people in town, and what we're trying to do with these guys over here is to try to kind of provide a good platform for folks to be able to discover on-chain culture, generative art, generative goods. That's another piece that we can speak about. And then an audiovisual experience that's going to be happening tonight on the 8th floor, which is basically the kind of intersection between electronic music and generative art. So a lot of cool stuff. We've been working on this for at least, a couple of months. And honestly, it's been a labor of love. I've loved working on this, and it's super gratifying to see it come to life and to have you here with us. So thank you for being here, man, once again.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, the second you walk into Ledger, the first thing you see is art, which is super cool, right? So that's one thing with you guys. It's always around art. I mean, the product's dope. We already talked about all of this stuff, but the culture around it is even more fun. I think this is why we all like to come here, right? I mean, Malcolm, you can probably relate. I mean, tell me more about this. Let's get maybe a little intro, like on what you guys do at Refraction and everything, but, and how does, culture intertwine for you guys with Ledger?
For sure, yeah. And I mean, also huge shouts to Ian, like in terms of leading in kind of like this visionary way around the culture here, supporting like so much different parts of the culture, art, music, etc. Because you can feel it and you can see it in the support around here, which I'll get into a second. But, so Refraction is a DAO. We've been around since 2000. There's about 3,000 members globally. Artists, technologists, different promoters, producers, music artists, all around the world. We've done about 50 events at this point, a ton of creative programs, a ton of drops, etc. And this year is really important for us and really interesting because this year, which we'll get into in a bit, we're going to launch our token. But before that happens, we're almost doing what we call almost like a mini tour globally, working with people we really believe in. We really love working with and that really align. So for Ledger, I mean, the conversation started, I guess, in Amsterdam last year. Brussels.
We had that beer with Amber. Shout out to Amber.
Shout out to Amber.
She's amazing.
We had at a kiosk.
Yes.
At Kiosk
I love
Radio,
that.
which is like, you know, there's like the Lot and Kiosk are like the two best places to really like sit, listen to music, have a beer, almost like globally.
Yeah.
So we sat and we started talking about how we could work together, you know, and for years we'd kind of thought about it in different ways. Ledger had been involved in different refraction events around the world. And knowing that this was coming up here and knowing the type of event we could throw here, the type of exhibition we could throw here, it was really like a no-brainer. And then it just became, like, as Mo said, just like a labor of love. And like, it's been so amazing working with the Ledger team because it's kind of like there's so much alignment between the Refraction and the Ledger team. Like everyone is so about the art, the culture, making it just right, you know? And so like from there, we curated a bunch of visual artists for it in concert with art blocks, as well as working with generative goods, et cetera, you know, around how we would do it all and show it all, right? And, you know, the exhibition, what I really wanted to do with it is think about artists that hadn't shown here before and shown in a different way and come up with some like other ways of bringing that to life. You know, so the exhibition, when you go in, how the frames are set up, different works that are showing in different places they might have not before. The Stacks wall with Emily Edelman, you know, the first installation.
You seen that one?
I saw it.
That's
And
pretty
you were
good.
showing me before coming on, but it wasn't there yet. And I went back, and that's really cool. So it's just a wall
All stacks.
of stacks, but it's not like, because we've seen the thing before where it's like one art piece per stack. But this is like a wall, and it's the whole thing is
Mhm.
The whole
one
thing.
piece only.
Yeah, like a brand new commission
Yeah.
of all stacks. And, you know, we really were looking at, okay, how can we think about this from a design perspective, from a sculptural perspective,
cool.
from a physical perspective, you know? And then tonight, upstairs, there's a few different DJs playing, a few local Parisian DJs as well as Sarsha. And then Leander Herzog is doing the site-specific installation as well. That's gorgeous. He's like doing 5 different renderings of Heatsink that will be playing in different times throughout the night.
You saw it yesterday. It looks really cool.
You did?
Yeah.
I'll see it tonight.
You'll see it.
That's for sure. I mean, I bet you it's gonna be fun. Mo, why do you guys like tap in so deep into a culture? Like, forget culture, like more like art, because this is more art. Like, I know it's culture, it's all part of, but culture is a very large term, so it's
Yeah.
not straight. Like, this is art. Like, why? Like, 'cause you guys have like this obsession with it almost, and I mean that in a good way. Shout out to Ian as well, because I know he pushes that very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember actually, fun fact, last time I was here for the big opening, I walk in, I come in early usually because I do work with you, and he was freaking out. And you know why he was
Screens.
freaking out out of all the day? Of
Screens.
all things Ian Rogers could freak out about, because this man's busy. The screens.
The screen.
Because the people that were putting the screens together, I guess they were outsiders, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't, he wanted the specific token to the blockchain. He was very specific and they couldn't make it work. And he was not having it. And he refused to do anything else until that screen was fixed and the art was displaying in the quality and definition that he was okay with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
this guy, and we know he cares, but that was like next level, because it's the day of the big 106 opening. There's like 1,000 people waiting to come here for a day. There's like 1 million employees. And the only thing this guy was focused on was like, yo, is the art going to be displayed right? And I really fuck with that, you know? So like for you, so why? Like, why so much emphasis on the art?
I mean, listen, like we spoke about this multiple times.
Yeah, of
before.
course.
Crypto security. Like when you hear it for the first time, it's super intimidating.
Yeah.
And the reality is that we are a crypto security company, but we are a hardware security company. We're a hardware company. And then you move up to consumer tech. And when you think about most consumer tech products that got wildly adopted in the history of consumer tech, like you think about, we were talking about the, Beats, iPod, iPhone. You think about, even the adoption of like iPads and like laptops, everything had a cultural aspect to it that made it attractive, right? Because the reality is that human beings like to connect with people or with things on an emotional level. And culture enables you to establish that emotional connection between a product and the users, or between the different users that will be using that product and themselves. And, we've done it, obviously, when we first met in 2021, we started to dabble with culture, thanks to Ian and obviously his vision. We did like all of the custom ledgers, and we were playing around with, NFTs and trying to see how we could incorporate these into our products, obviously NFT support and so on and so forth. But today we have Ledger Stacks and Ledger Flex. They are beautifully designed products. The screens can be customized, and that gives us a lot more room for creativity, like we were speaking about Ledger Stacks Wall. But aside from that, I think that culture builds a bridge, between people that, you think about what's going to be happening tonight. And we were super relentless about making sure that tonight wasn't only crypto people. We love crypto people. We see them all the time.
Yeah, but we need to expand. I was just having this
100%.
conversation with Snow for upstairs. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're doing the generative good stuff here, but we already know all your stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing to do it outside, right?
100%.
Totally.
And we were saying this at the beginning. So it's AI Summit. Fashion Week was like a couple of weeks ago, or even last week. You still have
Last
to
week,
go
yeah.
down.
Mhm.
We're in Paris. This is a beautiful building. It's amazing real estate.
In the Marais, like,
And you want to be inviting people in. Like we said, like 50% of the guest list are people we know from crypto. The other 50% are people from film, fashion.
good.
design.
I love that.
And then when they come in, they, if you talk to them about crypto security, everyone's gonna, go running out of the building and be like,
They don't care.
what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But then you gotta have a hook into the space.
Yeah.
And what these guys have done with like the art installations, Craig, shout out to Craig as well, like, design
Craig Barrow.
space. Craig Barrow. You met him this morning, I think.
Yeah.
I introduced you to him
Yeah.
pretty quickly. Amazing dude. They're really good at like kind of making sure that people that are gonna be coming into the space, I don't want them to, come into this space like, okay, we're full on crypto, but just be inspired. Be like, okay, these dudes actually have some, creative, thoughts and
Yeah.
creativity that they're expressing in different ways. So yeah, that's why culture is important. It's all about adoption, and without cultural connection, we're not gonna be able to grow the space.
And so I'll reverse the question now for you, like Refraction, you're doing well. Well, you said you got your token coming, you got the world tour literally on the way, you're doing a lot of events, you're doing a lot of cool shit. Why would you partner with someone like Ledger in terms of like a security company, et cetera? Like what to you guys, like, reverse, like what's the appeal there?
Well, I think there's a couple things. So one of the most interesting things that Mo just got into was this idea of like design, and thinking about like design, thinking about culture. And for us, like everything we're thinking about, especially now, and it's interesting, this idea of how do we onboard people that don't really know anything about crypto, maybe don't care about crypto, but understand that there could be something to the blockchain that can help them, that can go further and everything else. And for us, like looking at Ledger as a company, what we love is that, in a lot of way, a cold wallet is ostensibly IRL. It's like actually something physical. It's something that you hold outside of what you're doing all the time. And I think that creates this kind of design theory or design thinking around that actually really aligns with what Refraction does. Because everything Refraction does outside of whatever happens on chain are events globally, experiences globally, installations, physical products now, and everything around that. So it's like, as we start to think about this, like what really appeals to us is like, for one, the love of culture that's here. And for two, that idea of having a place where that can actually happen, right? And really IRL. Like, there's a club on the 8th floor
I
that
know.
we got to build out for
It's
this.
really cool.
It's there. And when I say build out, we just got to augment. But it's like literally a basketball court.
Yeah.
So you can play, you can hoop during the day.
You could do conference. There was a conference last time there, and then a
You can do it
basketball.
all. You can hoop, you do a conference, and then you can have a party at night.
Fuck yeah.
And like, that's just sick. Like that.
Acoustic sound system. Like,
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's all
I need to see this. I haven't seen it yet.
It's amazing. And it sounds so good in there. And so it's like, when you
And a
have
sick
that
view of
way,
Paris, by the way.
the sickest view of Paris. Like, and so it's like when you have that setup and you have that way of doing things, for us, it really appeals to us because then we can really do things to really take it further. And what's been amazing is like, whether it's been the screens, whether it's been the space, the club, the stacks, we're able to actually add on to what's being built here in that vision through a very aligning vision around like design culture and like how we actually think about bringing people into this space that weren't here before, So with Refraction events globally, I mean, you've been to some before.
Of course.
A ton of the crowd is not, they're just like, cultural people in New York or in Paris or wherever it might be that are coming and enjoying and like just checking it out because like, our ticketing partner for the world in terms of like going on chain is Resident Advisor. Like we're the only, crypto or, on-chain group that they'll work with in the world right now.
Wow.
We're building out
Whoa.
this like system with them, right? So it's like when you're working with people like that, you have to be so careful because that's really like bringing in a whole new crowd, right? A whole new audience, a whole new way of thinking, right? Into the space.
Cool.
So I feel like the way Ledger is really like at the forefront, like with security and with all these, different aspects and trying to make that like makes sense for a lot of people outside the space. We're doing the same thing with like events, music, culture, spaces, etc. You know, and I'll finish with this around this point, because I think it's really interesting, is like security at the end of the day is the thing that people that are not in Web3 always say, oh, well, there's all, you know, this could happen and that, I could get all my shit stolen, whatever. So in a way, what Ledger's really doing is saying, wait a second, no, this is how you do it, like a normal bank or like a safe or whatever you want to think of it as, right? And we're doing that in art and culture. You're doing that in media. It's like, this is the next wave.
Definitely. It's the wave.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It is the wave. Like the wave has started.
The wave has started.
This is the wave.
You know, and now it's like you can catch it now, or you know, you can get struck by the tsunamis coming. You know what I mean? So
this cycle is going to be very different. You know?
Totally.
And what you guys are doing as well, like, you know, you've expanded. Like I think we were just talking about Myriad, just like kind of, you know, cultural predictions and
100%.
prediction markets. Like I think, you know, the conversation that we're having today is very similar to the conversation we were having in 2021. It's just that the context is widely different. And it just provides you with more room to be able to bring to life some of the things that we've been discussing for 4 years, but in a completely different way and in a way that actually resonates. Like, I'll give you like an example. So we were talking about AI Summit, and I've been going to like different, you know, events around town. Shout out to Agoria, by the way. Incredible what he's done. You've seen like him next to Macron. Have you seen that video?
Again?
Yeah, just before yesterday. He was
No way, again.
his artwork and shout out everyone.
Man,
So
shout out to Seth.
Come on.
Crypto stuff. So like I was, you know, walking around that room and saying I work at Ledger. Everyone knew what Ledger was.
Of course, right? In France, I mean, you guys.
Listen, like 3 years ago, no one knew. No one knew. Everyone
It's
knew,
interesting.
Everyone knew what AI art was. Everyone knew what an NFT was. 3 years ago, no one knew that. And it's just like, it's different. Like tonight, a lot of people are going to be coming in and like these people that if I would have invited them to a Ledger party 3 years ago, they would have been like,
what the hell?
what the hell are you talking about? Well, you know,
I mean, they're fun
Ledger, what are
parties.
you talking about?
Okay.
But that's what I'm trying to get at, is like the context has significantly changed. And whatever we've been working on, us here in the room, but everyone upstairs, you know, now is the opportunity for us to like kind of showcase it.
I love that you're saying this, because like, dude, like, we act so, like, some people like act like so powerless in this space, but we are now the empowered party. And I think a lot of founders need to realize that, like, the people that want to enter the space, like, they need to understand, like, there is like really cool shit going on here, and it's feel like this for the first time ever, like, this industry is empowered. We're the people making the wave. We were talking about this. You're the people changing it from the art, people changing from the culture and security. We're the people changing the media landscape, and the hundreds of people doing it like we are. We're just a sample size of 3 here in this room, but like, you know, it's like we are the wave. And it's like, I feel like it's completely changed versus before. It was like we're trying to convince people you're the wave, and it's like, no, dude, this is the wave. Join it. It's we're happy. Like, join it. Come hang out with us. You know, come sit at the table. Like, there's room for everyone.
Totally.
And it's super cool. So tell me more, Malcolm. Like, you guys off camera, we're talking about some cool shit you got going on. So I kind of want to, like, you know, leave off on like what's coming next for you guys together, but also like individually. Like, so tell me, Malcolm, like what's coming next? You have a world tour coming. Like, you got so much stuff going on.
For sure. So we're doing a world tour all year, and in June,
You're not tired?
I mean, they do a good job with the
He's
make.
going to New York after, and then he's going to
we-
Denver.
Yeah, I fly to New York, then Denver, South by Southwest, Toronto, New York, and then from there it just goes. This is,
He doesn't say.
but
I love that.
you know, yeah, like tomorrow we're doing Loom in New York. Shout out to Dave and all.
So you headed out tomorrow?
Yeah. At like noon I have to fly. I get in at like 3:30. I go straight to Tribeca. Like, you know, the New York team, like it's basically our headquarters.
Of course. So you're
so like
set.
they're there,
Okay.
yeah. But it's like, boom, like it's on. It'll be great. And you know, well, the big thing that we're focusing on now is about a year ago we sat down with like, you know, the more focused part of Refraction. You know, as a DAO, you have a ton of people that are
Always.
involved, but then you've got your like 50 to 100 that are like very active on the ground globally, have been involved in major projects on different levels as artists, as producers, curators, you know, promoters, whatever it might be, people with spaces. And we said, okay, like we got through the whole bear market. Like it was like, we actually did fine. We had to like, you know, I think that people who got through it also, it made things really real. Because when you got through it, it was like a whole new world on the other side. Plus like what you were doing actually mattered,
Yep.
right? And I'm not saying other things like, that mattered, sadly, like some fell off, but like you really mattered if you got through, right? And we're like, okay, what do we want to do for our token? Because we had our governance token for a long time, since the beginning of the DAO. But the idea of DAOs and like, oh, we'll have a token and everyone will do their thing and then whatever.
It's very tough. That idea, I think, failed. Not yours. We did the similar thing. It's the idea of
Yeah, you guys
crypto.
did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
It's a very tough pathway.
I remember we were on the panel in New York literally
Yeah,
talking about that. And
Literally.
the truth is that pathway made sense to begin to organize and grow. But then it
Sounds
becomes like what's happened to you guys or what's happening to us, where then you grow out of that. So what do we want to do? So we started talking about, okay, we're going to do a token, and the token's going to be called IRL. It will be in real life all over the world, and it will be like the token for events. So we're like, great. So we had all these conversations. Then, will it be called the experience token, the IRL? What do we want to do? So then after that, we started working on our white paper, everything else. And we soft launched in Bangkok last year during DevCon. We did an event with the homies from Serotonin. So we do this event in this like crazy, we took over like a boutique hotel. Soul Clap came and played, flew in for it. It was like
What?
tons of art. It was incredible. And it was like totally on. And like, everyone who was like there and in Bangkok's the coolest, right? So everyone's just like, you're already in that
You're
kind of like
vibing, yeah.
vibe, right? And the group from Syndicate came in, and Sam Maison de Cairns and Rayhan, both like old friends, walk up to me and they're like, hey, this was the first time we were showing the points and talking about the token. They're like, would you be interested in like doing an actual chain around events? And I looked at them like, I've dreamed about doing a chain. I didn't even think it would be possible to do that. So we started talking. They're like, we're launching a couple chains at the early next year. We'd love for you to be part of it. So I said, okay. So basically from there, we went through this whole steps of like developing this idea of an IRL chain. What would it actually look like? The first blockchain for events and experiences globally. Products, drops, ticketing, merch, royalties, loyalty program for points and things like that, staking and other things on the DeFi side. So we started working through it. They flew. We said them, we're going to launch our white paper pretty soon. It's going to be called the live paper. And they've been flying through it. And we're soft launching in Denver.
Wow. Good place to launch.
Yeah, so it'll be great. And so at that point, over the course of the next few months, coming into late June, we're getting ready to launch the token and the chain.
I love that. I'm looking forward to it.
One of the most interesting things I think that we think about around it is it's not just for us in IRL, but promoters, producers, different venues, everything globally can also create their own token on the chain. They can also build on what we're building, which I think is going to be...
You're just building a platform for that.
Exactly.
Very cool. I love that. Well, congrats on everything. I'll be following closely. I'll try to event. I need to attend more Refraction events, dude. These are crazy, man.
Sure. Public Records is the opening. We're taking over all Public Records.
Let's go.
And one final thing about it, because I know this is something that you would really like, that you're doing as well, is like the idea of points.
Yeah.
And we're doing a whole point side because what we think is really important is people coming into the space
of course.
that have never...
It's scary, the whole money thing sometimes.
Right?
Crypto
and
and
if
all
you come
that
in
stuff.
and you're using points and you can experience in that level, it's like an introduction in a way where you start to see the benefits in a way that you're actually used to.
Yeah. People are used to points, American Express points, this points, that points, and it's a good hook in my opinion.
Totally.
First dabble into the industry. We do that with Myriad and at first I thought points were like kind of like, oh, cringe, people are trying to hide the fact they're token, but actually people love it, man. Like they have fun. Even me, I go on Myriad, I put a couple points here and there for fun, and it makes me feel something. I love that. Well, that's really cool. So I'm glad we got to talk about it. And Mo, last question would be like something you're really excited about up and coming.
I mean,
You're always busy, so we know what you're busy with.
We're here to support you guys.
You're gonna keep doing
whoever you bring into the space.
I know.
We're gonna be there.
When's the next 106 after Paris?
The next 106
Blockchain
experience. We definitely have Blockchain Week. We definitely will have another ledger open this year. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned this, but if I...
It's okay, we can cut it after.
We can beep it. But we have another ledger open this year. And listen, like, since these two little fellas have been, we have been trying to kind of recreate everything around these products. Like we just had a shoot this morning, the two of us, and
Loved
just
it.
like kind of explaining the difference of user experience between a Nano and a Stacks and a Flex, and
Totally.
you know, even Farokh was like deep in the weeds in the space and has been a Ledger user for a few years.
Yeah.
You know, didn't know about all of the different.
No, I didn't. I learned
features.
something new today on set.
And that means I need to do a better job.
But you're doing it now.
Because like, you know, you thinking about what's next. I mean, these products enable you to do a variety of different things that aren't just about crypto security. They're just about securing digital value in a more general sense. We were talking about identity. We were talking about how to use these products as two-factor authentication. And last time you were here in the studio, you know, we talked about a certain stat. I like to bring it up all the time. 500 million crypto owners in the world, 30 million people doing self-custody, 10 million hardware wallet
Let's go.
users. So, you know, you got to get more people to secure self-custody. It's the only way people are going to be able to like kind of be self-sovereign and secure the digital value. So lots of things to do and lots of cities to travel around the world.
Let's go.
And hopefully see your faces multiple times this year.
Oh, you will.
Definitely.
And
Be
yeah,
careful what you wish for.
I'm
Amazing.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mo, Malcolm. That was a pleasure.
Thanks.
106.
Thank you.
We're out. Peace.